20 of 28, 221 yards, a touchdown, 106.4 passer rating, and he looked good. But Key, it's funny to call it a revenge game in the preseason, but it's happening in Chicago. If you're a Bears fan and you're watching Andy Dalton just look terrible, and then Fields comes in and he plays well, and your coach isn't ready to make that change, you're seeing the guy that you guys gave up on looking pretty good. Is Mitchell Trubisky short-term in Buffalo? Do you think he's going to get that second chance, and can he resurrect his career as a starter in this league after what happened in Chicago?
Absolutely. Johnny Manziel got 1,000 chances.
Oh, my God.
So what when you're the number 2 pick in the draft, they're going to give you every opportunity. And Mitch Trubisky was not god-awful to the point where Chicago absolutely, in my opinion, needed to move on from him. I felt like Matt Nagy needed to coach better to understand who Mitch Trubisky actually was at the quarterback spot. Now, maybe he learned that real quick, fast, in a hurry when he came from Kansas City, that this wasn't the guy. That's one of the reasons he went out and got Nick Foles. But the guy did lead them to 2 playoff appearances. So the way that I look at it, he's in Buffalo. He's with Brian Dable, who's kind of, got Josh Allen on the right track and is going to be a head coach in this league here in the next couple seasons. And you got a guy like Mitch Trubisky that he sees, and he says himself, I may take a job. Most likely he'll take a job where they need a quarterback, because anytime there's a job opening somewhere, it's because most teams don't have quarterbacks. Think about it. And whenever these coaches get hired, they never have quarterbacks. Sean Payton got hired by the New Orleans Saints, and he didn't have a quarterback. Guess what they did? They signed Drew Brees, and the rest was history. That's just kind of the way it goes in the league. So Mitch Trubisky will get Leslie Frazier's the defensive coordinator. He'll probably get another job, and he'll probably wind up taking a job with a team that does not have a quarterback. Mm-hmm. And so if you're looking at Mitch Trubisky in the preseason and in practice, you can gauge him up against some of the things that's already on the team or who's coming out in the draft, and you say to yourself, we like what we see there. We want that guy.
It's funny how you're seeing a lot of that lately, too, with Jameis Winston did it last year. He went, instead of being a starter somewhere, there was nothing available for him. He's a high pick, a number 1 pick. Goes to New Orleans because he wants to learn. He kind of takes that redshirt year, in a way, going to the Saints. And now he's still, which, that's a story we definitely have to talk about, still in the competition. And we'll watch tonight as they play Jacksonville, and we'll see how he plays. He will get the start. But that's what he did. Marcus Mariota, in the same exact draft, did the same thing. And he's now in a backup situation after losing the starting position with Tennessee.
Ryan Tannehill did it from Miami to Tennessee, and I want to say about 5-6 games in, they decided that Marcus Mariota wasn't getting it done. They went to Ryan Tannehill. He takes them to the playoffs. A year later, they can't move on from him. They got to give him close to a $100 million contract. Now he's the guy.
Right. But you're seeing it around the league, that young players who, in their first stop somewhere, Sam Darnold is the starter in Carolina. They've hardly played him in the preseason, but that's another guy that, it didn't work out with the first team that drafted him. Go somewhere else and try to reestablish yourself.
See, I never thought Mitch Trubisky was, just bad.
He just had no experience when he came in the league.
Zero experience, and didn't have a whole lot of playmakers around him other than Allen Robinson. And it was a defensive-oriented team, and they just, for some reason, decided to put him in a different situation and instead of saying, okay, this is what he does well, and we could build around that, sort of like a Baker Mayfield and Kevin Stefanski in Cleveland. They came in there, and they realized, okay, he doesn't do all this well, but he does this. Mm-hmm. He fits what we want to do. Let's continue to build that around him, and now he's successful and getting ready to be one of the top 6 paid quarterbacks in the National Football League and potentially lead the Cleveland Browns to a Super Bowl.
Right. We haven't even talked much about the Browns and obviously and Baker and what they can be. But, again, Trubisky has the backup in Buffalo. It goes, again, to what I was saying earlier. Backup quarterbacks in the league, especially with a 17 now game season, it's more important than maybe it used to be, especially for a contending team, because you just never know if there's a quarter, a half, or even an entire game, you're going to need somebody capable to get you a win. It doesn't have to be a long-term solution. You don't want the catastrophic injury, but still, to have somebody that you can put in that plays the same way as your starter, which I guess that you could say Trubisky does, that's what you've got there. But let's get back. Go ahead.
See, I feel like, for instance, knock on wood, clink, clink, if something was to happen to Josh Allen for 2 or 3 games, man, I feel so much better about Mitch
That's
Trubisky
my
at the
point.
Buffalo Bills quarterback position other than what's in Green Bay and what's in Dallas? Like, I feel like, okay, we cool. Let's roll it out. We can still run the same offense. We don't have to deviate from it and feel like we still got a chance to win these games until Josh Allen comes back.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.